All right, I want to switch gears completely for a minute.
My criminal record?
Almost.
Oh.
OJ.
Well, okay, close.
Because I've seen, the press that you've done for The Biggest Loser documentary and some other stuff. We haven't really talked about that. And now that he's dead, can I tell this quick story, my version of the story?
You can tell the story, but this is the sad part about being a doctor. You got HIPAA violations even when people have died.
Oh.
So, I mean, all the lawyers wrote stories about it. I really can't reveal a lot of the stuff, sadly. I mean, some stuff I can.
Okay, well, then I'll just ask you a question.
It's sad that, all the great stories I have, have to die with me.
Okay. Well, then, but I think you can, and you can tell me why, if that still falls under this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can get around it, though. When you were testifying in the OJ trial, I remember we were talking. In fact, I think we had dinner one night during that. And I asked
3 days.
I asked you.
Monday, Tuesday, and a Friday.
And I asked you, because you had known him for a while, and I asked you, what do you think? And you said, I really think he's innocent. I really think he didn't do this.
I played cards with him. He would announce the Monday night football games, jump on the charter back with us when we played Monday night games wherever, and, played poker with him. And he, as compared to some other cranky players, would always give autographs, was incredibly nice to all the people
charming,
that would
charisma.
So, when I was in on the case, basically, they asked me, because I happen to be an expert on anabolic steroids. And one of the questions that Shapiro asked me to look into was, is it possible he did something heinous under the influence of anabolic steroids? So that's really how I got involved in this particular case. But, it was a trying time to, go on the stand. The first time I'd ever been in a courtroom. And, my prep was nothing. Meanwhile, the police officers testifying got something like a week worth of in-court prep, which is interesting. The ones that later were shown to be lying in their testimony. So maybe it's a good thing not to prep too much.
Didn't they label you a hostile witness at one point?
Yeah, I think I was a hostile. I mean, of course, I did have a criminal record because during the morning of the chase.
Oh, that's right.
I told Bob, I said, I think he's got cancer. He had these big lymph nodes under his arms. So I said, I need to evaluate him. And he says, well, you've only got this Tuesday morning because we're going to turn him in for, jail. He's going to check himself in. So he said, okay, you got to be there at 7:30. So I get all my nurses and we go over there and we're doing skin tests because we didn't know if he had TB or he had coccidiomycosis or he had lung cancer or he had kind of a weird family history. So we're doing this whole big workup. And then the other doctors came in, Dr. Baden and Dr. He was the Asian world expert anyway. And they were examining him, and all of a sudden it was like 10 o'clock when they were supposed to turn him in. So Marcia Clark calls and says, hey, where is he? You're supposed to turn him in. So Bob Shapiro says, talk to Marcia Clark and, tell her why, he's not got. So I said, Marcia, we had to do these skin tests. You mother effer, you careless ass.
Marcia's reaming you out?
Yeah. And I'm like this, and I'm like, Bob, you said you're going to turn him in at 10. And he said, was it AM or PM? I'm like, son of a bitch. Anyway, so then so I'm sitting in the living room while they let OJ go back with his girlfriend, and this great Victoria's Secret model is there. So they kind of go back to do their thing.
Conjugal thing?
Yeah, and we're just in the living room, and I'm there with like Dr. Baden, and he's like regaling me with the autopsy of Martin Luther King, and I'm like, and John F. Kennedy, and I'm like, oh my God, it was just like, a doctor in a candy store. I'm listening to all these stories. And then Bob Shapiro says, okay, why don't you go up and get, OJ, and you ride with him to the jail because he's like a suicide risk. So I go up there, knock on the door.
Did you feel like he was a suicide risk?
Well, anytime you're going to jail, you're
But did you get a sense from your interaction with him that he was despondent?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Remember, you're under oath. So go ahead.
So I knock on the door, and the wide open windows, suicide note on the bed, and go, Bob, there's nobody here. So we turn on the TV, and the Bronco chase began. So, of course, then we called the police and said he's no longer here. So they came and arrested everybody. So we all got arrested for aiding and abetting a fugitive.
Did you actually go to jail?
No. There were some good lawyers there.
So, Mike, to leave this, all these years later, he's passed away. I know that there are things you can't talk about. Do you, as you sit here now, think that he committed that crime? Do you think that he did?
The evidence is very clear from the blood evidence. The problem is that the police took his blood that they drew at their station, and there was missing blood. So to convict somebody, it's very conclusive based on the blood evidence that he was guilty. But they took his blood to the crime scene. Now it would be almost impossible to reproduce the location of the blood, but it's really hard to convict where the key witness, Furman, lied under oath, and the key mechanism of why it appears he's so guilty is the blood evidence, and there's missing blood.
And it's fallible.
And they took the blood to the crime scene. I mean, that's indefensible.
So there's enough reasonable doubt that you would still say, maybe not.
It's very hard to put a person to death, which is the penalty that you probably deserve for that heinous crime, based on those errors. And, I think the bottom line is the legal system, they didn't, prosecute it very well,
Yeah, that is the case.
And even in my case, this is how silly, or I can't say stupid, I can say illogical. So I'm on the stand for 3 days. 140 million people are watching live. There's a huge amount of pressure. And so they interrogate me really hard. Basically, I'm saying, this guy's got arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. He's got lymph nodes. He's got bad arthritis. He may have trouble moving and running. So they show a ad that he did that showed that it looked like he was moving his joints pretty well, and he had done it, say, a month before. And they're saying, well, wait, because my testimony was that, I was in my office and I remember him coming around the corner and he was just really limping, and they had me reproduce the limp and whatnot. So basically what they said in front of the jury is, okay, Huizenga is a liar. Look, here's the picture of him a month before. He's walking pretty well. And Huizenga is saying he's limping, so he's obviously lying. The jury didn't believe that. They believed me when they went back and talked to him. Why wouldn't they say, is it possible that he was limping because he was just in the fight of his life? Is it possible he's limping because his rheumatoid arthritis flared and he didn't have his medication? But they decided to take the tact, I'm lying, I'm a liar, when I'm presenting the evidence to the best of my ability. They decided to say, I'm a liar. There was a perfect additional explanation for why he was limping. This gives you an idea of the legal mind. They just want to say, oh, you're a liar. Why? What did I say? That
right.
That
and
strikes
what would your
you as
motivation
not being
be to
true.
lie under oath?
Correct. Why would I lie for O.J. Simpson? I'm just telling, I examined him. And by the way, every picture I took, they were too unthorough to take their own police pictures. So
right.
A lot of the evidence that they had was me. I was the one that gave the evidence.
Right.
Why would I then do that if I was just pushing for his side? I wouldn't have, given all that data. And the cuts, they didn't even draw the whole panoply of cuts that he had.
Yeah.
I was the only one that put that together. Yeah. So it's startling the lack of preparation professionals can have
especially
at certain times.
A case like that, a case of a century, and people are only as good as they are at what they do, right? Did you have any interaction with him in the years before he died?
I did have one interaction that was a little bit scary.
It was? Can you talk about it?
I was walking through, I was in Las Vegas, and I was walking through a bar at the top of one of the restaurants, and all of a sudden I hear, Huizenga, Huizenga. And I walk over there, and there's Juice, and I walk there, and he goes, And he had like this bevy of like these incredibly hot blondes around him. And he whispers in my ear, "Look at me, I'm a chick magnet." And I said, "Okay, Juice." Because I was always so hopeful. And I said, just take care of your kids, Juice, please, for me.
Yeah.
Just go crazy as a parent and do the right thing. And, things will work out. Just work really hard on your kids because they're going to really take a hit on this. So, yeah, there was some disappointment because, I liked them.
Yeah, I get it.